In this tutorial, we are going to learn control statement in C++. This particular topic, control statement, is not only for the C++. In any programming languages, the syntax for this control statement remains same. Maybe here and there will be a few changes. Otherwise, the syntax remains same. Maybe the way that you print or the way that you get the input from the user would differ from program to program. Programming languages to other programming languages. Otherwise, the syntax will remain same. So I really want you to focus more attention on this control statement. If you know this control statement, then you will be very good at any programming languages. Now this is a time for us to know what is control statement and what is the use of control statement and what are all the different types of control statement that we have in programming language. Control statements are used in programming to control the flow of the program. They are nothing but a keyword or a statements that are used in a program to transfer the flow of control to one block to another block based on some condition. So there are various types of control statements are there in C++ program. Let us see one by one. The first control statement is an if condition. What is if condition? I'm sure that in our day-to-day life we use if as a statement in case if you want to say yes, I can do it, but if this happens I can't do it. So basically if will come with the condition, isn't it? So same applies in the programming as well. This is a syntax for the if condition, as you can see them here. If will come with the condition. If this condition is true, this block of code is going to be executed. If this condition is false, then we are not going to execute this block of code. So this is a syntax. Now let me show you a simple example to understand how this if condition works. Now here I'm going to declare a variable. Let's say you are allowed to attend the classes only if you pay the tuition fee, right? So I'm going to ask you as a message, did you pay the tuition fee? If the answer is yes, you will be allowed to attend the class. If the answer is no, then you will not be allowed to attend the class. So for that we are going to write a simple program using this if condition. So I'm going to declare a string data type and then I'm going to call the variable name as fees, right? In the cout I'm going to ask the student, did you pay the fee? Maybe did you pay the tuition fee? Now I'm going to get the input from the user using this variable name called fees. Okay, now if the user enters the answer as yes, then we are going to display the message as you will be allowed to attend the classes. For that, here I am going to write this if condition to check whether the student has paid the fees or not. So what I am going to do, if is a keyword. Within this if I am going to write the condition. So what is the condition here? If the student pays the fees, then they will be allowed to attend the class, right? So how am I going to set the condition? Here I'm going to use the relation operator. There are different types of operators. So let me use the relational operator that we have learned them in the previous class. If the fees, here the student is going to enter the answer whether they have paid or not, right? If the fees is equals yes, look at this one. There is two equals, which means this is a condition. This is not an assignment operator. This is a condition that we are trying to check. If they enter the answer as yes, then we are going to print the message as you are allowed to attend the class, whatever the case, right? And then again, why did I put this one in a double quotes? The reason is this, because this fees is a variable that belongs to the data type name called string. If you want to assign the value for the string data type, it has to be there in the double quote. So here is the condition. This condition simply says if your answer is yes, then you are allowed. If your answer is no, we have no condition. What does that mean? If your answer is no, nothing will happen, right? So let me run this one so that you will understand. Here is the question, did you pay the tuition fee? If my answer is yes, as you can see them here, if my answer is yes, this condition is going to be executed. When I hit enter, you can see the answer is you are allowed. So what has happened here exactly? We are trying to check this condition. This condition is true. That is a reason why we can able to see this result. what if my answer is no? If the answer is no, here the condition is yes, right? The condition is yes. That's the reason why it's executing. In case if the answer is no, this no is different from yes, isn't it? So the condition fails. If the condition fails, this particular block of code, in this case the block of code is this cout statement, is not going to be executed. So this block of code basically will be executed only if the condition is true. If you enter no, then in that case fees is not equals to no. In that case it's not going to be executed. Then what is going to be there? Nothing will be there because we have not wrote anything in case if the answer is no. So let me run so that you will see. When the answer is no, when I hit enter, nothing will happen, just it will break the program, because when the answer is no, I have not written any statement what is supposed to be printed. In that case, if condition will come with the else block. This particular block of code is going to be executed only if this given condition is true. What if this given condition is false? So if you want to print the optional message in case if the if condition is false, in that case we are going to use else as a block. So this else will be executed only if this given condition is false. If this given condition is true, this block of code is not going to be executed. I hope it's making sense now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to follow the syntax. I'm going to say else, and then inside I'm going to have the printf statement. So here instead of saying you are allowed, you are not allowed in case if your answer is no. If the answer is yes, this condition will become true, then this statement will be executed. If the answer is no, instead of just breaking the program, we are going to inform the students saying you are not allowed. So how are we going to do that? Using the statement name called else. So when I run this one, when I say yes, it will say you are allowed. When I say no, in the previous example without the else statement, we have just seen the program was displaying nothing. In this case, because of the else statement, when I enter the answer as no, it is still going to give me a response saying you are not allowed. So this you are not allowed is coming from this else block. So this else block will execute only if the given condition is true. I hope now you know how to use if condition and what is the use of else statement in this particular program, right? Now I just want you to let you know one thing. In a program, you can have just if condition without having a else statement. In the previous example, we never had a else statement, but we just had an if statement. So if that condition is true, this block of code is going to be executed. If this condition is false, nothing will happen. Instead, the program will break. That's what we have seen, right? Now, am I allowed to use else condition without using if condition? What will happen? The answer is big no. You are not allowed to have the else statement without having a if condition. In case if you have a else condition without having the if statement, your program would throw an error. The error is this, as you can see them here, else without a previous if. So what is the takeaway from here? You can have if condition without having a else condition, but you are not allowed to have a else condition without having a corresponding if condition, because this else statement is an option for an if condition. So you cannot have a else without having if. I hope this one is making sense. Let me show you another example for the better understanding. So the more you practice, the more you will learn. So this is for the school fee. Now I'm going to write a program to check whether the person is eligible to vote or not. Right? So in order to check whether the person is eligible to vote or not, we need to find out the age of the person, right? So here I'm going to use the integer data type. I'm going to use the variable name as age, because we are going to determine whether the person is eligible to vote or not based on the age. Now I'm going to ask the user to enter the age. So cout, I'm going to say enter your age. Now I'm going to collect the age using cin statement. So here I'm going to use age. So whatever the age that was entered by the user will be collected here. Now I need to check whether the person is eligible to vote or not. In that case, if you want to check something, if you want to find out something, you can use if condition. Here I am going to use age. If the age is greater than 18 or greater than or equals to 18, inside I am going to say you are eligible. If the person age is 18 or greater than 18, the person is eligible to vote. Maybe you are eligible. In case if the person age is less than 18, let's say the person enters the age of 17, we should give the message saying you are not eligible to vote, right? So in that case, I'm sure that you know we are going to write the else statement. This else statement is an option for if statement. So there is no need for you to have else statement here. You can even just have if statement. But it is a good practice. When the condition fails, what is the consequences? So what will happen? In that case, you are going to write that statement in the else block. Here you are going to say you are not eligible. So actually using your else statement is the best to practice, especially when you use a if condition, so that in case if the condition fails, we will inform the user what is the mistake that they have done. So this is how if condition would work with else condition. Another point that you need to make a note of it here is this. If this condition is true, this particular body of the statement or a block of the code is going to be executed only once. Remember, if the person age is, when I go there, run, is going to ask me to enter my age. I'm going to say 55. When I hit enter, it says you are eligible to vote. So how many times am I able to see this result? Only once. So this is another important point that you need to make a note of it. When this if condition is true, this block of code is going to be executed only once. It's not like that block of code is going to be executed multiple times. No, just one time. If this condition falls, it will not be, this block of code is not going to be executed. If this condition is true, this block of code is going to be executed only once. Alright, so this is how if and if else statement would work. The next one is we are going to learn how to use more if condition in a program. So the syntax for the same is this. I'm just going to modify the syntax here. So this is a if condition. If this if condition fails, instead of executing the else block by default, we can have another condition. So here I'm going to say else if. Here I will have the condition, and if this condition is true, this block of code is going to be executed. So even here I'm going to have a condition, and then I'm going to have another else here, and then I will have the statement here. So maybe let me just increase the font size. So what I have done basically here is this. If this condition is true, this block of code is going to be executed. If this condition is false, again we are going to have another if condition. In this case I am not going to say if condition, I am going to have else if. So this is a combination of both if and else. In this case, if this particular if condition fails, it will not just go straight into the else block. Instead, it will go to the else if block, and then it will check another condition. If this particular condition is true, then in that case this block of code will be executed. And then in another scenario where this if condition is also fails, and if this else if block is also fails, in that case is going to execute this else block. So this else block is the option for this if condition. So it's not necessarily when this if condition fails, it will straight go to the else block. In this case, if this if condition is fails, it will go to the else if block to check if this condition is true or false. If this condition is true, it will just execute this particular block of code. It will not execute the else block just because we have failed in the first condition. This else block will be executed only in a scenario where both of this if condition and this else if condition is fail. So let me show you a quick example so that you will understand how this else if statement would work in C++. So now we are going to write a simple program to check whether the entered integer number is a positive number or a negative number are 0 using if, else if and else statement. So for that, let me just get rid of this portion. So what are we going to check? Whether the entered integer number is a positive number or a negative number or a 0, right? So first we need to declare a variable. Since we are going to get the integer as a value from the user, so I'm going to declare the integer data type. Let me call this one as a number, right? Now we are going to ask our user to enter the integer number. He can enter the negative number, or he can enter the positive number, or the person can even enter the 0, right? But how are we going to check the condition based on the number that was entered by the user? So the first one is, I'm going to ask my user to enter the integer value or enter the number. Okay, now in the next statement we need to collect that input. So I'm going to use the cin statement. What are you going to collect? The number that was entered by the user. Now here is the place where we are going to write the condition. We are going to check whether the entered number is a positive number or a negative number or a 0. If you want to test something or check something, you can use if condition, right? If the user enter the number is greater than 0, what does that mean? It can be 1, 2, 3 or even 1000. So those numbers are positive numbers, right? So in this condition, inside I'm going to write the cout statement, and then I'm going to paste them here. The message is, if somebody enters the number that is bigger than 0, what does that mean? That is a positive number, right? You have entered positive number as a message. What if the user enters something less than 0? In that case, I'm going to write else if condition. Else if is a combination of both else and if. So here I'm going to write the condition. Even this else if will come with the condition. It's not like else we just write the cout message to display the alternative message in case if the if condition fails. Here we need to write the condition, because if this condition is false, then it will come again to this else if condition, then again it will come to else if statement, and then it will check the condition. So here you have to provide the condition. So what is the condition? If the number is less than 0, what does that mean? It can be -1, -100, -1000, whatever. So if the number is less than 0, I hope you have already guessed the result, right? So it's going to be a negative number. So you have entered negative number. Again, I'm going to have just else statement. So within this one, I'm just going to say you have entered 0. Here there is no need for you to write a condition. The reason that I have not written any condition here is this: if the user enters anything greater than 0, automatically it will be a positive number. If the user entered anything less than 0, automatically it will going to be a negative number. In case if the user enters 0, then it's going to display the message as you have entered 0. So here what we are going to do, first the number will be compared with this if condition. If this condition is true, this block is going to be executed. If this condition is false, instead of coming to the else statement, here we have else if condition. Before, if this condition fails, it will come straight to the else statement, right? Now in this condition, it will not come to the else statement. Instead, it will go to the else if statement. Then it will check this condition. If this condition is true, it will execute this block. But even if this condition is fail, in that case, it will just execute this particular else block. Let me run so that you understand. So let me just remove the dash there. If I enter 89, the if condition is true, right? Because 89 is greater than 0. So when I enter this one, you have entered the positive number. Again, if I entered 0, both the if condition and the else if condition is fail. So it will directly go to the else part, then it will execute the statement where I have written you have entered 0. In case if you enter the negative number, like -90, it will go to the else if block, because else if statement is true. if condition is false but else if statement is true. So it has executed the statement from else if condition. So this is how if else if condition will work in C++. Now finally, before I close this if and if else if condition, I'm going to give you another example where you can use multiple if condition even without using a else if condition. So here this is a if condition, the next one is an else if condition. Then the question is, am I not allowed to use just if condition instead of using else condition? What if I remove this else? What will happen? What do you think? Is it going to give me an error? No, it's not going to give you an error, because it will run the code line by line. So it will go here. If this condition is true, again still there is an if condition here, it will come here. Then this else statement will be executed only if these two if conditions are false. Then you might be wondering, so this else, is it belongs to this if condition or is it belongs to this if condition? I'm sure that might be your question, because yes, we can have if condition without else. So here I have got only one else. So this else, which condition is going to owe this else condition? Is it going to be this one or is it going to be this one? I'm asking you this question. Comment the answer in the comment section. But if I run this one, still it would work without any problem. When I enter negative 88, still it will execute the block of this particular if condition saying you have entered a negative number. Now I'm going to give you an exercise, and then I will give you 5 minutes time. You can use either if multiple if condition, or you can even use if and else if statement to solve this problem. But I will give you 10 minutes. Let's see whether you can able to solve this question or not. Then I will solve you the problem later. Now the question is this: you are going to write a C++ program to display hours, minutes and seconds in both 12 hours and 24 hours format using if condition. So your time starts now. Let me see whether you can able to do it or not. I will give you the solution after 10 minutes. So here is the solution. For the sake of time, I have already typed the solution. So what do you want to find out? You wanted to find out the hours, minutes and seconds. So I have declared that one as an integer data type, because basically hours, minutes and seconds, they are integer number. Now I am going to ask the user to enter the hours, and then I am getting the input. Now I am going to ask the user to enter the minutes will be collected. I am going to ask the user to enter the seconds, then the seconds will be collected. What if my user enters the number as maybe 100, because in a day we have got only 24 hours, right? 00 to 24 hours. What if somebody enters 25 as an hour? So in that case we need to display the message as an invalid entry, right? So there is a typo error here, sorry about that. So here when somebody enters more than 24, in this case if they enter the hours as 25, because in a day we have only 24 hours, when someone enters 25 as an hour, this condition is going to be true. As a result, we are going to display this message saying invalid entry. I hope this one is clear, right? If the user enters anything greater than 24, just because we have only 24 hours in a day, we are going to execute this block. In case if the user entered 23, it's not 24, in that case this block of code is not going to be executed. Instead it will come to this else block, right? This else block, there is a message saying 24 hours format, because it's just a message, is going to be displayed at the top saying it's a 24 hours format. Now what do you want to print? The hours, minutes and the seconds that was entered by the user using this input function. Whatever the hours that was entered by the user will be collected here, right? So I'm going to get them here. Whatever the minutes that was entered by the user will be collected here. Then that one I wanted to print. Whatever the seconds that was entered by the user will be collected here. Now I want to print hours, minutes and seconds with this message. In case if the user enters hours as 23 hours, 23 will be printed, 55 minutes will be printed, 45 seconds will be printed. Now here I have another if condition, because the program says you have to print the time in both 12 hours and 24 hours format. So in the morning from 00 up to 12 hours it is an AM, then from 12 it will be 13, 14, 15, so that is a PM, right? So if the hours that was entered by the user is greater than 12, so in this case the hour is 23, it will come here 23 is greater than 12, right? So this one basically is the condition for 24 hours format. 24 hours format. So this one is the condition for 12 hours format. So when the user enters 23, again this condition is true. Again this condition is true. So 23 is greater than 12. In that case 23 will be subtracted from 12. When you subtract 23 from 12, what is the remainder? Remainder is 11, right? That 11 will be stored here in hours. So here it will print the hours as 23. In the 12 hours format is going to print the message as 11. So we are going to say cout hours format as a title. So the hours will be collected from this variable. If the hours is 23, here it will become 11 because it's a 12-hour format. It will be 11. Whatever the minutes that you have entered them will be collected here. Whatever the seconds that you have entered them will be collected here. In case if the user entered the hour as 3, what will happen? If the user entered the hours as 3, this condition is not going to be executed. Instead, this condition will be executed. Even here, this if block is not going to be executed, but this else block will be executed. Whatever the hours that you have entered will be collected. Hours, minutes, and seconds, and return 0. So this is basically how you can play with if, else, and else if statement in C++ program. So let me run this one so that you understand how does this one would look like. So hours, I'm going to say 45. So 45, we don't have a 45 hour in a day, right? So let's say 44 minutes 9 seconds. So in this case invalid entry, because in a day we have only 24 hours, right? In the next one, let us check. When somebody enters the hours as 22 and then 44, let's say 22. So 22 is 10 hours, right? So here we are trying to display the message in both 24 hours format as well as 12 hours format. So when I enter this one, so the 24 hours format is this 22 hours 44 minutes 22 seconds. So 22 in 12 hours is a 10 hours 44 minutes 22 seconds, right? Maybe in another case where we just enter something like 5 hours is 5 hours, minutes is 55 minutes, maybe 21 seconds. So in this case, even in 24 hours 05 is a 05, right? If anything goes beyond 12, that's when we calculate is a 13 hours 14 hours. Anything below 12 is a same. Even in 24 hours it is just same. As you can see them here, the result is been printed as expected. I hope now we have understood how to work with if, else, and else if statement. Now let us learn the next control statement.